Good morning, Mike. During your investigations, you may have heard that Skoda, that funny little car company from the Czech Republic, is about to launch an attack on the West. The assault weapon they'll be using is known as the Octavia, a family saloon which looks as good as anything else on the market, particularly for the low price they'll be selling it at. Your mission, Mike, should you decide to accept it, is to go to Prague, home of Skoda. Good luck, Mike, you'll need it. This tape, along with your Skoda jokes, will self-destruct in 10 seconds.
Like a Volkswagen or a Seat, dare I say it, possibly even a BMW. But I can assure you that this is the new Skoda Octavia, a car that's built in Eastern Europe and a car that from the outside looks pretty good. On the inside, the story's a bit different. It's got this very tacky, very hard plastic dashboard, which is typically Skoda. It's the sort of thing that you really wouldn't like at all. It's horrible, cheap, nasty, more high-tack than high-tech. Chuck that away where it belongs, that little ashtray. It's a shame really, because like I said, the car's all right from the outside, but it's only when you're inside looking at this horrible grey John Major dashboard, and the dials as well, which are also grey. I've seen black dials in the past, I've seen white dials in the past. Can't often remember seeing grey dials. And it's all a bit gloomy and a bit cheap and cheerful, which would be all right if the car was cheap. And it won't be cheap. When it eventually goes on sale in Britain, at today's prices this is, it will start at around £10,000 and peak at around 15 grand, which is, well, you know, quite a lot of money. Awful lot of credible motor cars can be bought for that sort of expenditure. And of course, when the car actually goes on sale, and remember, it doesn't go on sale until 1998, then of course inflation will creep in a little bit more. So could we be seeing a top of the range Skoda Octavia on sale in 1998 towards the 20 grand barrier? I mean, I think we can. How does it drive? Well, not too bad actually. We're chugging along a motorway here and it's quite smooth, it's quite nice. There was a bit of a problem with the handbrake earlier. It didn't want to work, it stuck in the off position as it were, which meant that we couldn't engage the handbrake. Slight problem when you're parked on a hill as we were. And although you probably can't hear it, this seat on this brand new Skoda Octavia, just released from the factory, this seat is squeaking away like crazy. What it's going to be like 5 years from now when there's 100,000 miles on the clock is another matter entirely. It always disappoints me, and quite honestly I think it's appalling that a car can leave a factory, and this is a car that's been prepared, let's not forget, especially for a journalist who's going to be critical, and it's got already within 5-10 minutes we've discovered a faulty handbrake and a squeaking seat. Now if that's the level of quality when they know a journalist is in town analysing the car for television, what sort of quality can you expect when you go up and pick your Skoda Octavia up from your local dealer in Oldham in 1998? Some of the features and fittings ain't bad. It's got an airbag. It's supposed to be as safe as anything else on the market. It's built in a very modern factory. They say the most modern factory in the world. I'd dispute that. I mean, I couldn't actually say what is the most modern factory in the world, but I'd be very surprised indeed if it was the Skoda plant on the outskirts of Prague, but who am I to argue? Lots of features. It's got a pretty impressive Blaupunkt radio in it. Again, we're not sure if features like that will be on the UK spec cars when they eventually arrive in a year and a half's time. lots of gadgets and gizmos, electric windows, electrically adjustable rear view mirrors and door mirrors, fog lights, I mean everything that you would expect on any civilized European built car. Now the question is, what do you want a car for? Do you want a car for glamour? Do you want a car for prestige? Do you want a car for quality? Or do you want a car to go from A to B? Well, if you want the latter, the car to go from A to B, this is the car. This will do the job. The thing that worries me about this car, most of all, is that you could have all sorts of other badges there. You could have an Audi badge there for the sort of money they want for this car. And that is what puzzles me, and that's what worries me. Because I think that even if this was a great car, and it's not a great car, it's okay, it does the job. If you're spending 15 grand, you want something with a little bit of cachet. Why settle for a Skoda badge when you don't have to? And I seriously wonder, actually, if Skoda shouldn't go the same route as Lada, for example, and that's sell their cars without the badge. Lada sell the Samara and badge the thing as the Samara. There's no mention whatsoever of Lada on the cars, in the advertisements. And maybe this car should be on the market as the Octavia. And maybe they should just show the Skoda logo without the Skoda name. Because all the while it's got those 5 magic letters, S-K-O-D-A, the jokes will continue and the perception will be the same. Now, if you're under the impression that Skoda have been producing cars for a few years, and a few joke cars at that, you better think again, because this to me is what Skoda's all about. This is what they should be doing today. Wonderful niche products like this 1957 Skoda 1100, worth a fortune. Only a couple of those made in the entire world. In fact, I knew the bloke who owned the other one and he sold it, like I said, for a small fortune. How about this Jeep type vehicle? This is called the Skoda Babetta, 1953. Bears a remarkable similarity, of course, to the Willys Jeep. And, of course, was pretty busy in this part of the world, for one reason or another, earlier this century. This is the Skoda Tudor Roadster Cabriolet, 1948. Look at that grille on this vehicle. I mean, they've been talking here on the launch of the Octavia about the new face of the Skoda of the 90s. It's a sort of BMW type grille, which isn't terribly exciting. That's what you call a grille. I mean, I'd give my right arm for a car like this. And of course, this is a car that you wouldn't be at all ashamed to be driving around if it had Skoda written on it in letters 2 foot high. Well, this is what I call tidy. It's the Skoda Type 450, around 1958. My God, that means that this vehicle was 1 year younger than me. And I don't know what you think, but it seems to me that this is a tool that you could be driving down the King's Road in on a Saturday night with no problems at all. I mean, it really does look the part, in the same sort of mould as a Volkswagen Carmen Ghia. Now, I tell you what, I remember these back in 1970 when I was Jack the Lad, lining myself up for my first Capri and nicking my old man's motor on a Saturday night when he didn't know anything about it. And these were a bit of a joke in those days, but I tell you something, I'll give my right arm for one today. It's brilliant. It really does look the part. Again, it's sort of in that VW Carmen Ghia mould. Nice horrible plastic seats, a rotten old steering wheel that cost about twopence to make, that Skoda Rapide type fastback, but some nice little features, some nice little touches, very retro, very trendy, dare I say. And again, you wouldn't be ashamed to be seen posing around Covent Garden or the West End of London or the Champs-Élysées or anywhere else in a car like this, because it's I think it's rather nice.